feel so devastated. At times I thought we never make it, but now we are.
What's up, guys? It's Monday, not so fun day, start of the week. If you guys heard that, that's Spidey boy yelling that he's hungry. He wants mac and cheese and he's demanding it now. But I mean, that was my fault. So I officially, which I thought would never happen, I actually joined a book club at work. And it's made up of 3 people. And it all started because I had asked one of the girls that worked there if, because I saw her, that she had just started reading the Harry Potter series, and then I saw another girl that had seen all the movies, but she barely started reading the series as well. So I was like, okay, here's some people that actually want to talk about Harry Potter with me. Anytime I bring it up, people are like, oh yeah, I've never read it, I've never seen it, I don't, it's not my interest or whatever. And me, I read like the first book when I was 13? 12? 13, yeah, 13. And me, I was little, my mind wasn't as broad in thinking, you know. I never thought, hey, you know, there might be a series. I didn't know that that was a thing, which is weird because in 3rd grade I read the Boxcar Children, and that's like a really long series. So I don't know if I just forgot or anyway. So yeah, the librarian, because I couldn't, we were supposed to choose a book, and I could not find out what book to pick after this other book that I had just read, and it was called, what was it called? 6th grade. Oh my god, all this time I remembered it, now I can't remember it. Anyway, I was like really into it. It was about 6th graders and like this really, like, not thuggish, but this girl that was like really tomboyish, like, but the only girly thing that about her was that she had really long hair, like down below her butt or whatever, and so like that was like her popularity thing, and she would get into fights with boys for teasing her and stuff like that, and it was because she was a tomboy. They would call her names, and I honestly can't remember the name of it. Damn. Oh well. If I remember, I'll mention it. Anyway, so I was like, well, I'm gonna go pick up the kids. You know, I'll head by the library because the library has like a little section where there's an actual store where they sell books. You can donate books, and then they'll resell it for like $1, $2, $3. So out of all the times they go, they always have a copy of The Hobbit, which the copy I've owned for years but never picked it up. So it's still sitting in my bookshelf. So yeah, I have a copy of it, but yet I still want to go look for a new one because it's like wedged in right at the bottom, and I don't want to move anything. That's how lazy I am. I've mentioned that I'm lazy. So anyway, it's wedged in at the bottom, and I kind of wanted like a really small paperback so I could just throw it in my purse. But yeah, they don't have it, so it's like, oh well. And so yeah, he's all cranky because he's like, this is your fault that I'm hungry, and I'm like, okay, that's true, but we didn't even take that long, so he's exaggerating. Anyway, what else? Oh yeah, so the book club, I don't know. These 2 girls, they're really cool. They're basically like me, you know. They like games, they like books. This other girl, we were talking about books the other day, and she was like, have you read this book and this book? And we kept guessing which one was reading which book, and which was funny because we've all read the same damn books. And so I happened to mention like, hey, you know, read this one, and she's like, well, I had suggested looking for Alaska because she's like, do you have any recommendations, any favorite authors, anything like that. So I had suggested John Green. If you guys don't know who John Green is, he is an author, but he also does YouTube videos. It's called the Vlog Brothers, and it's with him and his brother Hank. So like, he'll make one, and then his brother will respond to the subject that they talked about in the next video, and then John will respond to Hank on the next video about what Hank replied to on the other video. So it's like they have a really long conversation through YouTube videos. And sometimes if they don't respond, they'll kind of like just reach out to readers or nerd fighters or anything like that, on what subject they to talk about. And I think that's really cool because they also have like things like Crash Course and stuff like that, where you can learn if you're having, what I think it is, if you are not really able to understand your teachers in school, this is like the program that they kind of put out so that they can help students. I think that's what it is. I mean, I would have loved to have had that when I was younger. Like, having a computer back then was like a luxury. If you had to wait in line for hours just to get a computer for 30 minutes at the library, whether that was school or that was at the public library, like, you had to wait. So if you were gonna wait, you had to plan out your day, go get something to eat, hang out at the teen section and watch a movie, and yeah. So anyway, I carried on. So I had suggested this book, Looking for Alaska by John Green, and she's like, well, I have it, I got into it, and then I fell asleep. So it's like, yeah, it's a little slow to start with, but it's actually really, really good. You know, it's I don't know, it was interesting because John Green's books, that as soon as I finished reading The Fault in Our Stars, my husband, I told him I have to have all of his books. Like, I have to have them. So I binge read all his books, and now he doesn't have any books out, and I'm just like, bro, like, get writing. And I know that takes forever, or, you know, it's like, it's a process, but I need a book by him, like, out, like, today, like, yesterday. But anyway, so yeah, I was just all giddy, because, I mean, the only paper I've ever related to when it comes to books or anything that I like is a couple people that I do know in real life, but it's mostly on the internet. So it's like you can relate to this community and this community and this community for just about every single subject: movies, books, comics, and then like shows on Netflix or whatever. And here are these two girls that work with me, and they basically do everything I do. The only difference is that they're not married, but they have boyfriends. They don't have kids, but they don't care. And so we even ended up, it's cool because we all read at a certain pace. So we're gonna start The Hobbit the 1st of June because we're all each reading a different book at the time. And, you know, we mentioned, hey, you know, one of us is a slow reader, the other one inhales books. I used to be able to inhale read books, like, whatever, but now it's like I can, because I actually work 40 hours now, and my kids are getting a little more, you know, older and needy and whiny and mama, and I'm just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, that's actually gonna be fun because now I can kind of fangirl in real life like I used to. I was like looking at it then, looking at it now. Back then, I was over the top hysterical fangirl where I had to have everything. It all started with Twilight. Everybody remembers the Twilight craze, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard me mention Twilight before. I mean, even DC, Kid Cardinal, Danji, everybody knows about that. I was a little out there, but at the same time, that was like, how long ago was that? That was 7 years ago. So I have matured a little bit since then. I feel like maybe I fangirl a different way now. So it's okay. But yeah. Anyway, so I think you guys might see it. It's gonna be like a short, teeny, tiny little vlog. I don't know why Dropout didn't film as much as I thought he would, because we actually went out to Kid Card's house and we watched Backlash. And I mean, I was actually getting into the matches like how I used to when I was in high school. In high school, it was all about The Rock. And all about Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, and China, Rikishi, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, Edge, everybody. You know, it was even when Hulk Hogan was still wrestling. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of gaining back a little bit of my childhood. Stuff that I missed out on, I feel like I make up for it when I watch wrestling. Like, I love it now. And at first, and some of the, like, I love how many women there are now. Like, in the NXT, they have, like, the Bellas. They have who I'm officially a fan of now. I wasn't at first because I was just like, okay, I don't, for some reason I just didn't get it. But then I started kind of asking Dropout, like, hey, well, how did, it was Bailey. It was, how did she start out? You know, why did she call herself, you know, a hugger, or, you know, the hugger section? At first I was like, I don't know, I just don't get it. But I'm probably used to how it was back then. You were fierce, you were like, ugh, you know, like, it wasn't all bubbly and cheery and colorful. So I was a little bit like, okay, that's different. You know, I was so used to the heels too. So so Bailey, I read up on her backstory. I mean, why she chose the side ponytail, her name, the list that she gave, you know, her character and all of that. And I was watching so many intense matches, especially with her and Sasha Banks. And the ending, because that match was so intense, like, I broke down in tears. And my husband was like, oh my god, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's just like, that's crazy how, like, I wish I could have seen that growing up. You know, I only saw China and that was it. You know what I mean? I mean, had I known that it was okay for you to like something that's so male dominated, like, dude, I could have done so many more things that I felt like it held me back because of how I grew up seeing certain things in the media, TV. I mean, nowadays you have the media in the pocket of your pants. You know what I mean? Your iPhones, we didn't have those back then. They're tiny little computers in your pocket, you know? So if I would have seen that growing up, I mean, that would have been so rad. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's a long story. It's just basically, you know, I feel like growing up, I feel like I missed out a lot on parts of my childhood. So I feel like with me, the fangirling, you know, the owning of the Funko Pops, the crazy, you know, obsessive with books, and you know, just being kind of squealy and squeaky about it. I feel like it kind of makes up for all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that was my day yesterday, and it was pretty cool. I mean, shout out to Kid Card for showing us the UK wrestlers. That was crazy. I mean, that was some pretty technical wrestling there. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna get more into it like I used to. I mean, before I would lock myself up in my room and just watch Smackdown, and yeah, I was all cheering for The Rock. Still my bae to this day. And Dropout hates it when I say that. So now I'm all for, you know, his cousins and everybody that wrestles, that is his family. So yeah, I don't know. So you can still tell that I'm a little giddy about my day. I didn't have a horrible day. What's wrong? Don't close the door. Leave it open. Don't be mean. Thank you.
I don't want any sound. I only want to hear the way you're dying. Turn that thing down.
Hey, you want to stop yelling? Or do you want me to put you on camera?
I want
Okay, well just ask for me to turn it down. That's all you have to do. There you go. Yeah, it was a little loud. Now another one got mad at me. But you're not closing the door. Just leave it the way it is and stop rolling your eyes at me. He's hangry. Jesus. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So. Oh yeah. I also mentioned that I'm not very outgoing, but yet these next couple months are kind of outgoing. Dropouts, possibly Kid Cardinal and his wife. They might go with us or us with them. However, we're all going to well, I'm not going to Smackdown, but I'm definitely going to Raw, and then too bad we can't film it there. But anyway, yeah, I want to see the Hardy Boys, and I want to see Roman, and I want to see Bailey, and everybody. It's gonna be badass. Like, I can feel it, because SmackDown, honestly, to me, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's just, I feel like the only reason SmackDown is even having this event is for John Cena and AJ Styles. And another thing too, I don't want to go because, what's his name? Owens. Just shut up, okay? So, anyway, maybe I should cut that out. That was bad. Anyway, so yeah, and then Dropout and Kid and Dodgy and possibly everybody and their mother. I wouldn't mind, but it's expensive. They're going to Kendrick in July. Yeah, July. And then my anniversary with my husband is in July as well. My birthday is in July. I might be going to the Metallica concert for my 30th birthday. It does not have to be front row seats. I don't get if I get a nosebleed and they're like this tiny, but I want to see it. I want to hear it live. I've listened to all their concerts live. I've gone to see the movie and it was 3D and I felt like I was there. It was so good. And if I could meet Lars and James and Roberts, that would be a dream come true. So yeah. And I didn't want to say my age on here, but fuck it. I'm gonna be 30 years old. Yep. So yeah, I wanted that for my 30th birthday, but regardless, if I don't go, if for some reason it doesn't plan out that way, I'm getting my tattoos, so either way I'm a happy camper. And yeah, so gotta feed the kids, guys.
I used to feel so devastated. At times I thought we never make it.